This is lesson 7.1, Roots and Rational Exponents. So for a while, you've been working problems that have squares, like this would be 2 squared, and you know that that means 2 times 2, which is 4. Oops. And you know that 2 to the third is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. You also know that the inverse of squaring something is the square root of 4, the square root. So like the square root of 4 is 2. The cube root of 8 is 2 because it's 2 times 2. It takes 3 2's to make an 8. So that's how you would simplify a cube. So whenever you see these, I know we always call this one a square root, but that's just the way you've learned it. Really, this symbol is called a radical. And the number under the radical is called the radicand. And the number that goes right here is the index. Now, all the ones that you've pretty much done in the past have been a square root. And when the index is a square root, you just kind of leave it off. So there's always an understood 2, unless there's a number there that's different. Kind of like if I had 2x, I know that's 2x to the first. It's an understood 1, unless I put a different number there. So what we're going to talk about in this unit is nth roots of numbers. So it's not always going to be a squared there or a cubed. It could be something different. And so an nth root is the same thing as having that radicand as the base to a fractional exponent. So up to this time, you've always had just some kind of integer here, some kind of whole number. Sometimes it's negative, but it's never been a fraction. So we're going to turn this into rational exponents. So you can see in a rational exponent, the denominator of the fraction becomes the index number. So for instance, if I had the cube root of a, that's the same thing as a to the 1/3 power. If I had a to the 2/3 power, that would be the cube root of a squared. And I could put the square with the a underneath, or I could say the cube root of a squared. Either one would work. So what happens then if we have a negative fractional exponent? And I'm going to do lots of examples of this after I teach these rules. So what happens if I have a negative example? Well, a negative fractional exponent is basically just like one that's not a fraction if it's negative. The first thing we're going to do is make it 1 over a to the positive 1/2 power, which means 1 over square root a. And then we're going to talk about how you would simplify that. So let's do a couple practice examples of this. Here's the first example. 16 to the 5/2 power. So this means that I have the square root, because this number is always the index number, of 16, and then I could make the 5 here, or I could put the 5 on the outside. I'm going to go ahead and put the 5 on the outside, because I know what the square root of 16 is. The square root of 16 is 4. So now I have 4 to the 5th power, which is 1024. And I did that part on my calculator by doing the little 4 and then the caret key, 5. Let's do another one like that. What if it said cube root of 3 squared? So this is going to be the base number if I turn it back into a fraction. So it's going to be 3. The exponent is the numerator, and the index number is the denominator. So 3 to the 2/3 power is the same thing as the cube root of 3 squared.